guys, Larissa with BeCozi.com is here. BeCozi.com is an American website that offers a bunch of chunky yarns. Our chunky yarn collection is the biggest in the United States. And we're making these videos to promote our BeCozi chunky chenille yarns. So like today, I will be making a blanket using our new plush chenille yarn. This beautiful green color, misty green. And the blanket will be made in a cable knit pattern. You can see how beautiful this blanket is. The size of the blanket is 40 by 60. It's pretty big blanket. It's enough to cover you sitting on the couch from toes all the way to your shoulders area. So as I said, I will be using misty green plush chenille. This is misty green. And we have some really beautiful colors of this new plush chenille. Emerald green, tan. We have beautiful maroon, olive. We have gray, navy blue. We have ivory, mustard, and beautiful, beautiful candy cane. So all these beautiful colors you can find at BeCozi.com. And you can make this beautiful blanket using our plush chenille yarn, available only at BeCozi.com. You will not find this yarn anywhere in any craft stores. And pattern will be cable knit. I will show you the pattern in one of the shots before my instructions. And I also would like to remind you about previous video that I posted last week when I made this beautiful flower cable blanket with our sparkly chenille. You should definitely check out our sparkly chenille because it's incredibly beautiful. It has these beautiful sparks all over chenille yarn. And you can definitely see them better when it's a dark color, like this black or this navy blue. We also have lighter colors, like this beautiful gray color available that I'm using on the blanket. So again, please check out BeCozi.com and our collection of chunky chenille yarns. And today we will be making a beautiful blanket with our plush chenille yarn in misty green color, this one. So if you have yarn ready, let's get started. Okay guys, let's get started. So here we have our plush chenille yarn. See, this is a BeCozi plush chenille yarn. You can wash this yarn. The best way is to hand it, not to dry it. And then let's get started, and we will be starting casting on a chain. So the yarn comes with the knot on the end. It will not be unraveling. See, it's holding nicely. But there is a special way to connect this yarn. I will show you when I am done with this first skein. I also have the pattern. I will put a picture of this pattern at the beginning of instructions probably. It shows what stitches you will need to make. So we'll cast on 25 stitches. So you see 25 stitches here. This mark is a letter V. V, it's a knitted stitch. So you see the stitches are knitted. And this mark, this is a purl stitch. So this actually very easy to read, and it will help you. You can take a picture with it and then put it in front of you like I do now, and then you can get started. So we're placing the yarn in front of us. This is the tail, this is working yarn. Working yarn is going on the top like that. We create this little loop. Then you insert your, insert your hand inside this loop, grab working yarn and pull it out. So you're holding this two and pulling the stitch out, and you just made a first stitch. We need it a little bit smaller, so you can pull working yarn down and make it about an inch and a half or so. So now insert your hand inside, grab working yarn and pull it out. So we now have 2 stitches. What we're doing next, we are holding the bottom of the stitch. We're inserting our right hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. We have 3 stitches now. Try to keep them about the same size, and then we're moving our hand, pressing the yarn, holding it at the bottom. Insert your hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will need 25 stitches. So I will cast on and I will come back to show you how to proceed with the next row. And for now, just insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out and try to make all stitches about the same size. Okay, let's count how many stitches we have. We can count stitches by these openings on the top or on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. And we need 5 more. 22, 23, 24, and 25. So we have 25 stitches. So now we can start pull out our first row, guys. So what we will be doing, we will place the chain in front of us and then we will flip the chain on another side. Why we are flipping it on another side? Because we will be using this middle part of the stitches here, see these little knots, and when we're doing it this way, you will have beautiful chain on the bottom of the blanket. So the first stitch, this is our first stitch. We will knit it, and then it just stays here. And now we will find this middle part of the next stitch, and we will lift it, grab working yarn, and pull it out. See, we have 2 stitches now. Now find the next one. It's in the middle of the top and bottom part of the stitch. Grab working yarn and pull it out. And that's what we will be doing for the whole first row. We will be simply pulling out our stitches. When I do it to all 25 stitches, I will come back and show you how to start the pattern. Okay, guys, we are done pulling out our first row. See, it's all done. Our first row is knitted or pulled out. We have 25 stitches now, and now we will start our pattern. We'll just simply follow in this picture that I have here that shows V for the knitted. So for the knitted, we insert our hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. Then we have 3 purled. So these 3 guys will be purled. Working yarn goes up front. You're grabbing the stitch and you're pushing the yarn through the stitch. This is our purled stitch. And then we will do the same for 2 more. Pushing yarn through the stitch, and this is the difference between purled and knitted stitch. Knitted looks like a chain, purled looks like it has a little bump on the top of the stitch. So what we're doing now, we will be knitting 3. So we purl 3, now we're knitting 3. 1, 2, 3. So try to keep all stitches about the same size. then the blanket will look nice and beautiful. 3 purled, and then we have 5 knitted. The 5 knitted, guys, working yarn goes on the back. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out, and then do the same for 5 stitches. And these 5 stitches we will be using for creating a cable knit in the middle of the blanket. Next 3 we will be purling. You're taking the stitch with your left hand and pushing yarn through with your right hand, and that will make us purl stitch. Next one, 3 knitted. After 3 knitted, we'll have 3 purled, and then the last one we will knit 2. So 1, 2, and 3. So, and the last stitch is knitted. So we're simply taking the yarn and pulling it through the stitch. So here we are. We have our second row knitted, and we started our pattern. So what we're doing now, the next 5 rows, we're simply following the pattern. So we are purling stitches that are purled, and we are knitting stitches that we knitted. It's easy to see because, as I said, purl stitches have this bump. You can see it on the top of the stitch, and you know that it was purled. And knitted stitches, they look like a little chain. So we are purling this 5 stitches in the middle. And as I said, we will be doing it for 6 rows total. So this one is row number 2 of following the pattern. And I will keep knitting, following this simple pattern of knitting and purling. And then when it's time to make a cable knit in the middle of the blanket, I will come back and show you how to do it. Okay, guys, so I didn't even finish one more row, but I'm out of the first skein, so I need to show you how to connect the next skein. So we will take off our paper, we'll find the end of the yarn, and this yarn is connecting in a unique way. So, as I said at the beginning, when yarn has this yarn has a string inside, and when it has this knot, it will not be unraveling. See, it's holding nicely. But if you cut this yarn like that, then you will notice that it's unraveling like crazy. So don't panic, don't think that it's a bad yarn or a bad quality yarn. It is not. It's just how this yarn is made. So you are taking off all these fuzzies, and then you are making a knot with these 2 strings that is inside of this yarn. So 2, 3 knots. And now you have 2 the same parts, this yarn with the knots and this yarn with the knots. What are we doing? We're simply making a knot between these 2 pieces. Here we are. We connected it, then make another knot, and one more or even 2 more knots that it will be holding nicely. So when you have 3, 4 knots made like that, now try and pull it aside. See, it's holding nicely, and you do not even see this connection. And then you're cutting these tails close to the yarn, and here we are. Our yarn is connected. It's pretty strong. It will not unravel, and that's how this yarn is connected. So now I will just keep knitting this pattern that I showed you until I have 6 rows, and when it's 6 rows, then we will make a cable in the middle. I'll be back. Okay, guys, so we made 6 rows, and you can easily count them by the stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is row number 6. So what we will be doing now, we will be following the same pattern until we reach those 5 knitted stitches in the middle. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 knitted, 3 purled. This yarn is incredibly soft and plushy. I just love it. Here we are. This is our 5 stitches in the middle, and the interesting part about this cable knit, we will not be using all 5 of them. We will be just using 3, and these 2 will be just simply knitted. So we're simply knitting first, and then we're using 3 for creating a cable. So we're keeping these 2 first stitches here, and then we're knitting this 3rd stitch, and then we will be knitting these 2, 1 and 2. See what we did? We crisscrossed these 3 stitches, or actually 1 and went on the bottom, 2 on the top. Let me show you one more time. So here we are. We knitted our first stitch of 5 knitted stitches, and now these 3 stitches will be crisscrossed. First 2 goes on the top like that. Grab 3rd stitch, knitted, and then these 2 crisscrossed, and now we will knit this first, and then this, and then last stitch number 5 over here. So we just made our cable knit, cable crisscross, and now the rest of the pattern will be simply 3 knit, 3 purl, the same as through the whole blanket. So the only difference will be for this pattern will be when in the middle, where we have 5 stitches, 5 knitted stitches. Every row number 6, we will be making a cable knit or crisscross. All the other time, we will be simply following the pattern or simply following the stitches. You can see that the stitches knitted, they need to be knitted. This purl, they need to be purled. So here, when you're going back, you're simply knitting this 5, and then you're doing it for 6 more rows, and then you're making another cable. That's pretty much it. So I will keep knitting, and when I'm done with all the yarn, I will come back and show you how to cast off. Okay, guys, so we are done with all our yarn. Look how nice and beautiful this plush chenille look. It's very, very soft, plushy, and very thick. Comparing to the regular chunky chenille, it's much, much thicker, and the blanket will be much, much heavier. So what do we do now? Now we will be casting off. Let me finish these 3 stitches. To cast off, we will need to take 2 stitches together. The working yarn goes on the back. So we're taking 2 stitches together, and then we're grabbing working yarn and pulling it through. So we just knitted 2 together and made 1 stitch from 2. So now keep your hand inside the stitch, and then add the 2nd stitch, and then grab working yarn and pull it out. And that's all for casting off. You're simply knitting 2 stitches at a time until you finish the whole blanket. And I didn't mention it, guys, so what you will need to keep enough yarn to finish the blanket, and you will need to have 3 widths of the blanket left, of the yarn left, like that. So let's say this is your blanket width, so it will be 3 widths, and if it's 3.5, it's even better. That's how much you will need to have enough to finish your blanket. Okay, so here we are. So I will keep casting off, and when you're casting off, make sure that you didn't lose any stitches, because then they will be hanging here on the back, and you will need to unwind it and finish all over again. I will keep casting off, and then I will come back and show you how to make the last stitch. Okay guys, here we are. We have 2 last stitches here. Put them together, grab working yarn, pull it through, make 1 stitch. See, we finished our beautiful blanket here. We have beautiful chain on the top. We didn't skip any stitches here. Now we have this little tail left. This tail goes inside of the last stitch, and then you pull in it gently, and here we are. Our blanket is finished. This little tail, I'm usually going underneath the chain, both part of the chain. So see 2 stitches going underneath, and then next stitch and next stitch in. Then you can come back and you can attach this tail to any stitches on the back. So we can simply make a little knot with it. Attaching it to the stitch. I'm trying to hide the tail nicely. Okay, here we are. So here we are. We attached it to the stitch with the knot, and then you can just simply hide this end underneath any stitch like that. See, this yarn is very soft and forgiving. You will not really see any connection or when you hide the last stitch. And then we will do the same at the beginning of the blanket where we started. We will put the tail underneath the chain, 1 and 2, and then back, and then we will just hide it simply on the back like that. Here we are. So that's how it's done. We just finished our beautiful plush chenille blanket, and this is a really beautiful color. If you can see, we have a few colors available as I showed at the beginning of the video. You should definitely try our plush chenille yarn. It's incredibly beautiful. The blanket will be really nice, heavy, and beautiful. And you can find this yarn at BeCozi.com. Stay warm and be cozy. Hey guys, my hand knitting book is ready for you to purchase. It can be purchased at BeCozi.com and on Amazon, and also available as a Kindle. It's a perfect gift for yourself or your loved one. It's the most unique gift and book on the knitting market.